It's not far-fetched to say that Jared Leto was an enigma of the 21st century and was at a time one of Hollywood's most eligible bachelors with plenty of women who have fallen victim to his enviable looks and undeniable charm. But what did Jared do that made Scarlett Johansson hit rock bottom? Why was he dressed like Jesus, and why have we not seen much of the star on the silver screen since 2016? Stick around as we unveil what happened to Jared Leto that might have made him unsuitable for love and too much for Hollywood to handle. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Before we dive into the disturbing details of Jared Leto's work ethic and ever-changing love life, we need to switch a few years back to Jared's already tragic start to life. Jared came from humble beginnings, as he was not only born into a very poor family, but his parents also divorced when he was just a child. Jared was left to spend most of his childhood without his dad, who abandoned his role as a father and husband. Jared hasn't spoken much about his father through the years, but he has said how his father's last words to him were, "I'll see you, kid, just going to the store to get a carton of milk." Sadly, his father never returned. If that isn't a cause for commitment issues, we don't know what is. Sadly, even if Jared wanted to, he would never see his father again, as he committed suicide for unknown reasons when Jared was just 8 years old. This left his mother and his brother Shannon to completely fend for themselves. From then on, Jared was never able to call one place home for too long, as his grandfather, with whom he lived, worked in the military, forcing the family to constantly move from place to place. Even though the Letos had a roof over their head, Jared's mom still struggled to put food on the table and would often rely on food stamps to feed her family. Jared has many times spoken about his wild upbringing, as his family would have to forage through forests around the world. Just having the communal hippie experience as a child, there wasn't a clear line that was drawn. Leto has never been shy about his upbringing, and in fact, one can almost assume that his hippie lifestyle was the catalyst for all of his unconventional ways in his adult life. Perhaps this makes sense as to why Jared was so eager and comfortable with forming a so-called cult later in life. Leto's bond with his family has been prominent in many of the songs Jared and his brother performed with their band 30 Seconds to Mars. Jared has always had the world's admiration for his mother. In interviews, Jared has always mentioned how grateful he is for his mom, as she is the reason for his family's survival and for helping him kick his drug habit.
And I just want to say, I love you, Mom. Thank you for teaching me to dream.
There is no questioning Leto's bond with his mother, but is this bond too strong for Leto to allow any other woman in his life? Are his failed relationship attempts solely because no one can live up to his mother?
I didn't find an Australian girlfriend, but God knows I tried.
Jared has been open about the fact that he didn't have a serious girlfriend until he reached his late 20s. He did, however, make up for the lost time when he started dating actress Cameron Diaz. The couple were in a relationship from 1999 to 2003, and they were even rumored to be engaged before they split up. However, sources have said that Cameron wasn't very happy in their relationship, as she wasn't sure if her man was all that committed to her emotionally. At the time, there was speculation that Leto was jealous of Cameron's booming career, and at the same time a lot more interested and focused on his band 30 Seconds to Mars. Turns out that no one in Cameron's close circle was too shocked by their split. Sources explained that he wasn't very nice to her and that they only did a limited number of things together. They went so far as to say that the two seemed to have lived completely separate lives and that Cameron would almost always attend events on her own. Leto didn't even visit her on set of a film she was working on at the time. Was this the root of jealousy? Was Jared constantly trying to prove he could be better? Shortly after the breakup, Jared admitted in an interview that he doesn't think he is a very good boyfriend and said, "I'm too obsessed with my own creative ambitions and my own goals." Then there's the scandal behind the infamous photo of Jared and his ex-girlfriend Scarlett Johansson, where Scarlett was trying to kiss Leto, but he was far too preoccupied with his own cell phone. Ouch. Just another girl trying to win over the impossible task of Jared's heart. Years later, in an interview, Scarlett talked about a past relationship, and though she doesn't specify the ex, many have speculated that she was talking about Jared. In the interview, she says, long ago, I had someone in my life who was forever unavailable, but like, so attractively unavailable. She spoke about how she knew she hit rock bottom when she had completely lost herself in a one-way relationship. She realized she was doing things completely out of her character to see this guy. She said, "That is the moment you've got to cut it off. otherwise it will keep coming back to suck your blood. Yet years later, they were spotted holding hands and taking selfies at a convention. What is it about Leto that girls can't seem to shake? Jared clearly had a thing for the thrill of on and off again relationships. The list of people who Jared Leto has been linked to is almost too much for one person to count. Wondering who are all these women on the list? Well, let's see. There's Ashley Olsen, Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan, Nina Senekar, Isabel Lucas, and even Miley Cyrus and Katy Perry, and that is just to name a few. But none of these have ever gone further than the occasional hookup. Poor girls. So what is it about Jared Leto that makes it so hard for him to commit? Although he blames it on his ambition for his career, some can't help but wonder if it is simply because he has not met the one. Or is there something deeper? More than one of Jared's former flings have spoken about how they keep on going back over and over again, thinking that he would be different, but deep down they always knew he wouldn't change. Leto might make an impression of a typical Hollywood hunk, but in reality a lot more is going on with him than meets the eye. While other actors and bands have fans, Leto and his band 30 Seconds to Mars have jokingly said they have a cult. That joke, however, turned into a reality, as in 2019, the band hosted a retreat for fans on an island in Croatia. Photos of the gathering caused a stir online when most of the people were photographed wearing white, and Jared himself was wearing an all-white ensemble and looked eerily similar to Jesus. The band didn't help their cause by posting a series of photos captioning it, "Yes, this is a cult." Nor did it help their cult image when tickets to this retreat were heavily overpriced. Fans didn't seem to mind the high price tags, as many posted that although the price was a bit overboard, the experience was ultimately worth it. We wondered if any of his girlfriends would be comfortable with this. Was this the reason his love life was so quiet during this time? Besides the whole cult thing, which really did seem more tongue-in-cheek than anything else, there's Jared Leto's intense dedication to committing to his characters even when he's not on camera. From what we've heard, we can't imagine many people would be comfortable hanging around Jared during his character prep. Perhaps the most infamous example of this behavior would be when Leto was filming Suicide Squad.
I could tell you meant that. You're gonna be my friend.
Jared's take on the Joker in the film was so controversial that neither Warner Brothers nor the public was too thrilled by his interpretation of the villain. In true to his method form, he even went so far as to terrorize his co-stars during production, as he would never break character while on set. He would send co-star Margot Robbie a live rat, bullets to Will Smith, adult toys and used condoms to the cast, as well as a dead pig for their first table reading.
You know, you say Jared has gone full Joker. Jared, he went full Joker, you know.
Gut-wrenching stuff. When asked why he did it, Leto said, "The Joker is somebody who doesn't respect things like personal space or boundaries. Doesn't seem like Jared does either." Despite negative reviews and studio execs being less than thrilled with Jared's strange antics, there was still talk that he would reprise his role in a spin-off. But Jared decided to ruffle a few more feathers. According to The Hollywood Reporter, he tried to halt the production of Todd Phillips' Joker film starring Joaquin Phoenix, for which Phoenix received an Oscar for a very different interpretation of the villain. This tiff also endangered Jared's relationships with his reps, so when it came to making the spin-off, the studio decided not to invite Jared to participate in the film. It couldn't have been easy for Jared after so much dedication to his character and risking his reputation just to be completely cut out and ridiculed for his role. Then there was the relationship that might, possibly, just maybe last. We can imagine that it took many of his on-again, off-again relationships by surprise when it was revealed that Leto has allegedly been dating 26-year-old model Valerie Kaufman for over the last few years. Since Leto hasn't been cast in any noteworthy films since Suicide Squad, fans can't help but wonder if this relationship has stuck because his relationship with Hollywood didn't. People magazine reported that the couple didn't immediately start dating when they met in 2015. They initially seemed to just be friends, as they would meet up in groups and wouldn't go on solo dates. This would make sense, as at the time, Jared was in the peak of his career after winning an Oscar and would soon star in the highly anticipated film Suicide Squad. However, it would seem that Jared has not drifted from his on-again, off-again habits, since the couple was only spotted again in 2020 after 2 years of being photographed together. Although the alleged couple was spotted going for lunch with none other than Jared's mom, it seems that for now the only woman that Leto can stay committed to is his mom. There is no questioning that Jared Leto is an enigma when it comes to his craft. Some would even go so far as to say he takes his craft too far. But has being abandoned as a child scarred Jared to a point of not being able to commit? And is his commitment to his career and his family too important for him to ever be able to commit to a person?